The New York Times reports that the U.S. Army is conducting secret germ warfare experiments. Super Bowl I, which the Green Bay Packers defeated Kansas City Chiefs 35-10, and Mantra Rock Dance, which was considered to be the ultimate high of the hippie era, man. The year is 1967, and this four-door sedan, Mercury Monterey, could be had over at your local Mercury dealer. But before getting into all of it, I'm your host, Jay, a boomer trapped inside a millennial's body. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that covers the lost and mostly forgotten cars. We dive in deep with history, specs, design. Sometimes it's like seeing these cars for the very first time, with engine episodes generally on Wednesdays. Not trying the app, just trying to tell you what we're about. If any of that sounds of interest to you, a channel that you will totally dig, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. Real quick announcement, real quick before getting into all of it. Hershey is coming up fast. It's actually next week, Tuesday through Friday, the 8th through the 11th. RM is having an auction at the Hershey Lodge. I'm going to leave the address up here if anybody's interested. Hershey is absolutely huge for anybody that has never been there. It takes place in the Hershey parking lot, Giant Center parking lot, and surrounding areas. It will take you more than a day to see everything. It's a giant flea market. They have a car corral that makes like a semicircle around the flea market, where they have at least 1,500 cars for sale in the car corral. The car show is on Friday this year, and there's cars that you never ever get to see. So I hope to see you at Hershey. I know it'll be like finding the needle in the proverbial haystack, but if you see me, be sure to say hi. 1967 Mercury model lineup. These aren't in any particular order: Comet, Capri, Caliente, Cyclone, Cougar, Monterey, Montclair, Park Lane, Marquis, Brome. Mercury also offered wagons in Villager, Voyager, Commuter, and Colony Park. Mercury offered the Monterey from 1950 through 1974 and was always in Mercury's full-size model lineup. Offered in 7 generations. 1967 falls in the 6th generation, which was produced from 65, 66, 67, 68. The 1967 Mercury Monterey could be had as a 4-door hardtop, 2-door hardtop, 2-door convertible, and 4-door sedan. 1967 did see a bit of a redesign, so let's compare 66 on top, 67 on the bottom. Starting in the front, the bumpers and just about everything with the front fascia has been changed. Parking, running lights / turn signals, they've been relocated from the fender. Also, just notice how much further the fender protrudes just past the grille. The 67 fenders also protrude past the grille, but it's done completely differently. Anyway, the turn signals have been moved from the fenders on the 66 to the bumpers on the 67. The grille comes to more of a point on the 66 with a center line in the hood, whereas on the 67, it has a spot in the center of the front fascia where it sticks out. The hood is also raised where the protrusion is in the center. Also notice it starts off high and then it tapers as it goes towards the windshield. Both have external cowl vents with windshield wipers that follow. Interestingly, though, the side sheet metal has been revised. The 66 has more lines sculpted into the sheet metal, whereas the 67 has a convex look, especially in the belt line. Both have a grille on the front fender that is designed slightly different. The roofs are different. The 66 was the last year for the breezeway roof option, which was an option first featured on the 1957 through 1958 Turnpike Cruiser. It was also found on the 58 through 60 Lincoln Mark III, 4, and 5 in the 50s, not to get confused with the Mark series in the 70s. The Mark Lincoln lineage is a messed up one. They took a bit of a break and then they would come back in 1963 through 1966. 1966 was the last year for the reversed angled retracting window, but they did offer a breezeway ventilation option, only offered on 4-door sedans, and it looked like this instead of having the reversed angled window. Moving aft, lights are designed differently. Size and shape are both different. Bumpers are different. Trunk and deck lid looks about the same. Better look at the rear roof and window design. Jumping inside to take a better look at the dash and interior situation. Which one do you like better? Let's talk specs. 218.5 inches long, 78.2 inches wide, 58.1 inches tall. It rides a wheelbase of 123 inches. It weighs around 4,036 pounds. Price $2,904, which would be equivalent to you spending $27,370.29 a year 2024. Total 1967 Mercury production was 391,990 units. Moving on to engines, which there were a plethora of different engines to choose from. Starting out in the proverbial basement was the 390 cubic inch displacement overhead valve V8. It was rated for 270 horsepower with a 2-barrel carburetor, and according to the chart, the Monterey didn't get the 4-barrel version of the 390, which was interesting. 4,400 RPM, 403 pound-feet, or 546 newton-meters at 2,800 RPM with a bore of 4.05 inches and a stroke of 3.78 inches. Compression is 9.5 to 1. When backed with a 3-speed manual transmission, 0 to 60 could be had in 8.5 seconds with a theoretical top speed of 121 miles per hour while achieving an average of 11.5 to maybe 13 miles to the gallon. Mileage may vary. Lots of different factors go into top speed as well as fuel economy and the 0 to 60 numbers. It doesn't say what rear end ratio this car has or altitude, and your tuning could definitely play into it. Moving on to the middle option, 410 cubic inch displacement overhead valve V8. It's good for 330 horsepower, 4,600 RPM, 444 pound-feet, or 602 newton meters at 2,800 RPM with a bore of 4.05 inches and a stroke of 3.98 inches. Compression is 10.5 to 1. When backed with a 4-speed stick, 0 to 60 could be had in 7.1 seconds with a theoretical top speed of 126 miles per hour while achieving an average of 10 to 11 miles to the gallon. Moving on to the biggest and baddest engine on offer for the Monterey, which was the 428 cubic inch displacement overhead valve V8 Super Marauder. It was good for 345 horsepower, 4,600 RPM, 462 pound-feet, or 626 newton meters at 2,800 RPM with a bore of 4.13 inches and a stroke of 3.98 inches. Compression is 10.5 to 1. When backed with a 4-speed stick, 0 to 60 could be had in 6.9 seconds with theoretical top speed of 130 miles per hour while achieving an average 7 to 10 miles to the gallon. 3 transmissions were on offer, 3-speed manual, 4-speed manual, or the 3-speed Merc-O-Matic Select Shift Automatic. If you've been scouring the internet for a 1967 4-door sedan Mercury Monterey with a 390 V8, look no further. This one is currently for sale at Classic Auto Mall, Morgantown, Pennsylvania, where they have this car and 900 other cars currently for sale when recording this episode. And get this, anybody can go there and peruse their inventory in person. 4 hours of operation, directions, and to get the full scoop on this very car, be sure to click the link below after the show.
Let's talk styling. Starting with the grille and the headlight situation. Just so you know, right here, this is all painted, but the bright work here is real. So the black part's painted, bright work real. Just look at that grille. Mercury script right there on the nose, as well as badging. Turn signal indicators. Notice this car does not have bumperettes or overriders. it does have two. The middle part here is more protruded than the sides, and there is an ever so slight crease going back to the curved windshield, which the windshield wipers follow. Check out this grill here. Also how this bottom part protrudes the top part. The fenders are not flared, just capped off. This car does not have rocker molding. There is, look at how that molding just protrudes out. This one has an external cowl with the windshield wiper squirters. It does have drip rails which start at the base of the windshield right here, and they run the length of the cabin of the car. Same thing with the rear fenders, they're not flared. Here's a better look at this. Monterey. Gas filler is on the driver's side. Take a look at this roof profile. Look at those tail lights. These doors, or this door, is pretty light, all things considered. Notice it's all framed out. Door lock, armrest, as well as door handle to pull the door shut. This feels like a vinyl material. Door handle to get out. Window crank for the vent window on top, and the bigger crank on the bottom is for the big window. Coming down inside, the pedal box down here. High beam switch on the floor. Brake, gas pedal, emergency brake release. Just take a look at this interior. Here is what over the hood looks like. Here's what first person over the hood would look like. Look at how the dash pad has this bulge that goes up right where the speedometer is. It's just different.
On to the button switches and knobs, starting on the left and moving right. A series of idiot lights, left turn signal indicator, gasoline gauge, 120 mile per hour speedometer. Notice the number 120 is the only number that is flipped. Odometer at the bottom, headlights, accessories, drive modes read, park, reverse, neutral, drive, second, first, four-way flasher, windshield wipers, key/ignition, clock, right turn signal indicator, heat and ventilation controls, fan blower motor speed, as well as defrost, AM/FM radio with cassette. Interesting trivia, the cassette was invented in 1962 in Belgium. Philips as an invention first in the Europe market 1963. It didn't come to the States until 1964. Ashtray.
Up above, there are sun visors. Also, check out this clip. Daytime, nighttime rear view mirror, as well as sun visor over here with accessory mirror for passenger. Rear door, same thing. The only difference is there is an ashtray on the armrest itself, and it doesn't have vent windows. That's how the window operates. It doesn't go all the way down, but it does go most of the way down. Here's what the front looks like from the back. Let's take a quick gander at the greenhouse, or the pillar to glass ratio in this car. Behind the rear seat, there is a parcel shelf where that looks like an aftermarket speaker unit. Could be wrong. But that's what visibility looks like out the back window from the back seat. Let's talk seat back profile. It is reclined ever so slightly. The seat back doesn't dip down in the back. I'm 6'2", and this is how much space I have. There's enough space to put my fingertip in between my knee and the back of the seat. Creature comforts. There is a coat hook, dome light, ashtray, as well as armrest. Everything found on the driver's side is also found on the passenger side.
Taking a real quick gander under the hood, 390 cubic inch displacement V8 two-barrel carburetor. Distributor is mounted in the front with the coil just to the right of the distributor. Notice this one has a dual master brake cylinder with power brake booster, power steering, plastic windshield washer container for the windshield washer fluid, alternator, 12-volt battery. On the positive side, tons of space, both front and rear, and body space. I mean, tons of space in the trunk for groceries, beer. I wonder how many kegs of beer you could fit in the trunk. That would be an epic test that will never happen. Anyway, space is huge with this car. Different. And I mean, like, when is the last time that you've ever saw one of these in the wild? Great engine choices. Against it, it's a huge car, and they can be very thirsty. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. 2 scenarios today. In the first scenario, would you rather have a 1967 Oldsmobile Delta 88 or 1967 Mercury Monterey or 1967 Chrysler Newport? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. On to the second scenario. 1967 Ford Thunderbird 4-door or 1967 Mercury Monterey or 1967 Pontiac Bonneville. I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. On to Name That Tune. First person to get both the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of the comment section. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below. Or send me an email at what_it's_like at a lost and mostly forgotten web provider, yahoo.com, if interested. Thank you guys so much for everything that you bring in the comment section and all of the memories and stories that you share. I really dig reading the stories. Until next time, toodaloo! For those who have maybe never made it to the end of an episode, this is the after party. It doesn't have any sound or music, but you can listen to whatever you want to listen to in the background. You get to see this car like you've never got to see this car before. All of the lines, all of the angles, all without me talking. Enjoy.